Hi there, I'm Justin Pritchard, and in this video, we're going for a spin in the all-new BMW 3 Series, so I can give you a look at what you might expect from this latest version of one of the world's best-selling luxury sedans. Specifically, this is the new 330i with a 2-liter, 252 horsepower Turbo 4, 8-speed paddle shift automatic, and xDrive all-wheel drive for better traction. Pricing from about $50, and my tester's options bumped that up to about $60,000. For that, you get a lengthy list of the latest features and tech on offer from BMW, including some new communications and voice command technology, and plenty of featured content lifted from BMW's higher-end models. There's not a lot in here, feature or design-wise, that you wouldn't find in a much pricier BMW. And that's because they want to wow you with this car, and that is because they know you've got plenty of great options here for the money. The result is a better than ever bang for your luxury car buck, which is good news for the folks with their checkbooks ready. Outside, it's a smattering of BMW's latest design elements, including no shortage of high-definition details and sculpting. It looks more substantial as a result, and you might even mistake it for the larger BMW 5 Series. There are big brakes, big dual exhausts, and an aggressive fascia, complete with computer-controlled grille shutter blades that actively manipulate airflow to balance fuel-saving aerodynamics against the current demand for engine cooling. This all nods to BMW's long-held promise of efficient performance. It's equal parts lavish and high-tech on board. She's crammed with lovely materials, displays and interfaces and switchgear. And if you like screens and readouts, you'll like how much of the visual space in here is occupied by fully digital readouts with excellent graphics. If you've ever wanted to drive a spaceship, you are going to love this interior. And you can customize almost all of the readouts, call up the news or weather with your voice, use this dial to manipulate almost anything with just a few millimeters of fingertip movement. Tech fiends will quickly find this cabin to be their new favorite gadget, but the rest of us might need a few days of practice to figure out how to work everything. There's a personal assistant that responds intelligently to your voice and is expert at dissecting your requests to figure out exactly what you want. The cabin also brings familiar elements from your luxury lifestyle into your motoring environment. Materials, interfaces, some of the controls, colors, textures, and even this matte finish wood trim on the center console is all selected based on what's new and hot in the world of fashion and design and architecture. Of course, the point is that BMW hopes this car will bring the shopper's taste for high-end materials and visuals into the cockpit. Former BMW owners will feel right at home quickly, and those new to the brand will likely find this interior to be pretty stellar looking too. At 5'10" and roughly average build, I found the driver's seat to be properly comfy and sporty snug, just about bang on for anyone who likes the feel of driving an athletic car that isn't a land yacht. You're lower, more in control, and closer to the center of the action than you are in a crossover. And if memory serves, the angle of the windshield and the way the dash and hood are shaped in the new car means it feels a little roomier and has a more commanding view out the front. Back seats should fit two average adults just fine, though the shape of the door opening makes getting in a little bit awkward for some of us. Further back, there's a power trunk lid and plenty of room for your things inside. The Turbo 4 is buttery smooth, loves to work, and serves up enough low-end torque that you barely need to press the gas pedal to get sailing on down the road. Drive gently, and at times it calls an electric car to mind. Tons of immediate torque delivered almost noiselessly. For the average driver, then, there's rarely a need to exceed about 2,000 RPM, and that's good for your fuel bill. On the other end of the tachometer, sportier drivers will find plenty of power in reserve, a smooth and pleasing growl when they use it, and from lower speeds, performance seems more eager than the output numbers lead on. Once you're off the line, turbo lag is virtually nil unless you're really looking for it. The transmission is also world-class with lightning speed, perfectly matched shifts in both directions, and a paddle shift mode that's so entertaining you'll actually use it. It's also very easy on fuel. On the highway, I bet a full tank is good for at least 9 or 10 hours of cruising. This is all what shoppers have come to expect from a BMW 3 Series powertrain, and regardless of which one you choose. As gently or as spiritedly as you'd care to drive it, it is a class act where the sound, thrust, and refinement are concerned. You never feel it lacking for power or becoming strained, and in all, here's a powertrain that never really misses a beat and seems happy and eager to please no matter how you drive it. Expect 0 to 60 in about 5.5, and if that's too slow, you can order a 340i instead of this 330, and that gives you the better part of 400 horsepower. Even with 252, caution is advised if you're not a cruise control user. This machine can very quickly sneak past the speed limit if you're not paying attention. Braking is what we expect from a 3 Series. The pedal feel is precise, even more precise when you work the brakes hard, and they respond urgently with minimal pressure, and that makes them feel eager, which inspires confidence. Ditto the way that they nicely communicate the traction situation between the tires and the road back to the tips of your toes. Steering shows some expert fine-tuning as well. Mostly it's heavy, quick, and highly responsive, even more go-kart-like when you call up sport mode and get to some winding roads. Often this all feels better the harder you drive it, and the sensation of directing this car around with just little flicks of your hands and wrists and how tiny it all feels in the process will leave a lasting smile for anyone with a pulse. Custom drive modes set the steering, ride, engine, and more up exactly how you'd like for the drive at hand. Switch between go-kart and comfy cruiser with a button press, and in comfort mode it's a quiet, dense, solid, and heavy feel that often make this 330i ride like a bigger car. So the whole drive is flexible and variable, which helps performance and comfort and agility and luxury to peacefully coexist. And inside, outside, and underneath you as you drive, it's all presented with that smooth and polished BMW feel that so many repeat shoppers love. That is, unless you're on a rough road. These 19s come with low-profile rubber, courtesy of the M Sport package. Handling is sharper, but ride quality and noise levels on rough roads can take a pretty good hit. Skip the big wheels if you want maximum comfort here. Also, remember that there is a fair bit for you to learn in here if you haven't been in a modern luxury car before. You might want to keep your favorite teenaged iPad expert on standby for the first little while as you learn all of the fancies. So another gripe is the lack of Android Auto. There is Apple CarPlay if you have an Apple. This is an Android, so I am not able to use it. Of course, BMW's got a fairly sophisticated and effective voice command personal assistant system that's really good, but probably not quite as straightforward or easy as Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So if not having features like those are a big deal for you, and that could be the case, you may need to be looking elsewhere. And if you're looking elsewhere, I'd suggest starting here with the new G70 from Hyundai's newly minted luxury brand Genesis. This rear-drive 2.0T Sport gives you the same amount of horsepower, no shortage of featured content, and a similarly impressive materials palette on board. It gives you something else a lot of luxury sports sedan shoppers like too: rear-wheel drive and a manual transmission. Even more importantly, it feels as good, if not even maybe a little better, than the BMW, where that thrilling feel, born of finely tuned reflexes, is concerned. It might actually be the Genesis that puts the biggest smile on your face when you find an empty back road. Though I will say, the BMW is the more relaxing and refined thing to drive more of the time. And while the G70 doesn't have the pedigree and history of a 3 Series, it is about 15 grand cheaper than my 330i Tester. It is always nice to have options and choices, and these are two of my favorites from recent memory, and two of the freshest luxury sedans on the scene today. Happy test driving.